Bobby, back for season 7. What's your general thoughts going into this year? Is it different? Does it feel different?
You know what? One way you always say a preseason is going to feel a little bit different, but it feels a little bit the same. I've been lucky enough to be at this club now, coming into the 7th season. Blessed to be playing in this competition that's coming up in Concacaf Champions Cup, and when you do that and you start early, you're doing different things to the squad. You always remember this has come because of the success of the club from the year before. So it's always a great thing to be going. And yeah, there's always new things, new players to get acclimatized into what we're doing here, what our goals are, and immediately in front of us, Concacaf Champions Cup.
You mentioned you're blessed to be playing in this competition again and to be here in Hamilton. I think a lot of people in Hamilton will think they're blessed to have you back. We've seen 2 major changes in Canadian MLS teams this year, which I'm sure you saw you were linked to in the media, yet you're back here again. Are you a little bit surprised when it comes to the fact that you're here, or is the grass not necessarily greener on the other side? Like, what's your thought process as this moves forward?
No, I think, football is a big global game, and there's obviously a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going. I say on one end as a coach, there are not many that have been around at a club for 7 years, and that gives you an ability to build things. That gives you an ability to challenge yourself, to challenge your team. That's not an easy thing. And what we've done here at Hamilton with Forge to keep a team at the top for 6 years, and we want to be able to do it a 7th season. And I always say coaching has its different challenges, and it doesn't matter where you are in the standings, what success you've had in the past, there's new challenges in front of you. And like I tell the players, you always have to reach to the top, and wherever that top may be, Real Madrid, Manchester City, I always say those things are up for debate. But coaches ourselves, that's how we have to think as well, because that pushes us to become better every day, make sure it keeps us sharp, and it doesn't make us live in the past, but more about thinking of the future. And the future's bright here. We see it year after year and what we're trying to do, and we want to change the script also in these next couple of weeks. We've been in this competition before. We've been happy to be here. We've been happy with performances. Now it's about results.
I want to ask you more about the Concacaf experience in a second, but you alluded to being happy to be here. 6 major honors in 6 years is a remarkable achievement for yourself and this club. Obviously, you'll chase more in year 7. When people talk about you and look at you to maybe go elsewhere, do you look at the coaching landscape and see, in Europe, some of these coaches are lasting 5 minutes, they're lasting 3 weeks, they're lasting 6 weeks, and understand that what you're building here is something that, even though maybe you could leave, is also something very unique and different?
Yeah, of course. You don't get the opportunity to build from nothing to where we are, and now we're way past the nothing part, and we're into building into the next stages. But at the same part, as a coach, you have to be prepared to be in a job that may last 2 to 3 months, because that's part of the life cycle as a coach. And I always say that to players: you have to be prepared for everything, for everything that it brings you. So at this point, I'm very happy with how we're working. But in the future, maybe you want to be in one of those positions where you're under the knife week to week, and I think you have to be prepared in this profession to do it each and every way.
Cruz Azul, Chivas Guadalajara, now Monterrey. What did you learn about the 2 giants that you played to help you with this next giant in Mexico?
Yeah, first off, I'll say, hopefully next year we're playing Tigres, and we've completed all 4 of the giants of Mexican football in Club America. What have we learned? They're excellent football teams. They've got a lot of quality throughout their squad. And so we can talk all we want about that, but we also learn about the uniqueness of where they're vulnerable, because each of them are vulnerable. Mexican football and the league and the top clubs, they seem to have a certain DNA about them. So it's about understanding those little intricacies. And last year's performance, I think, was fantastic against Chivas, but the little moments make the big difference. And we need to use that as a blueprint a little bit going into this season, because if you can clean up those small moments, we've played some excellent football. That excellent football now has to turn into results.
So the draw is made mid-December. What, as a coach, do you do instantly after that once you find out your opponent? Can you give us a little bit of behind the scenes into how things go about that? Obviously, the infrastructure and the travel takes care of itself, but you then look at this team. They've won 5 out of the last 14 Concacaf Champions Cups. What do you think about, and how have you spent the last few weeks looking at Monterrey?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think the 2 of us talked about this before the draw, and what I would like. And I always said, if it's a Mexican team, I want one of the giants, and they're one of the giants if we're going to go down that route. So yeah, the immediate thing you do is you scan the roster, you see what their next games are, and you're watching their games. You're watching their 2 final matches against Club America to get a good vision of what they are nice and early. But you know there's going to be changeover as they go from Apertura to Clausura. There has been some, and you know, just watching them on a weekly basis and making sure we not only know who their top 11 players are that play most of the weeks or most of the games, but making sure we know all 20, because we know that the roster changes with these competitions. So just making sure we've got a good dive in there. But we're Forge. We like to play our football. We like to do our thing on the field, and we like to see where we can expose our opponent. And we need to use every advantage that we can get. And one of those is home field advantage here in the first game. I've said in each year we've played in this competition, the colder the better. And then just making sure we're a little bit sharper than the past.
You know I like to bring my numbers to our interviews. Do you know how many Concacaf games your team has played in?
This will be 21-22.
21, very good. 20, you've had 20 Concacaf games since 2019. No team in North America, if you don't count Mexico, in the US and Canada, has played that many games. No team in the US or Canada has played that many games since 2019, aside from Forge of Hamilton. Is that that's not only just an achievement, but that experience must be something that you must be proud of.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I don't think it's the cold in here, but I can feel it right here. And in 2019, when you know, we were told there's an opportunity to play in continental competitions, I said outright, that's where we need to be. You want to win trophies, you want to win championships, but I can tell you the feeling of playing in these games for the players is phenomenal, and even for us, the coaches. You know, it's something different than league play. It's something different than domestic competition. It's going into these different environments, and you know, we were having a lot of these discussions in our preseason camp in Cancun about our experiences in Honduras, our experiences in Guatemala, and basically being everywhere through Central America to play and have success. And now, you know, it's the 3rd time around with the Mexican giant. As a player, I don't think you can ask for anything more other than trying to get these couple of results in this next round. And that's been what we've talked about. It's play 2 to get 2 more. And that's our goal this year, is to try and play 4 games in this competition, and we see what we can bring from there.
And obviously from a Forge focus, it's an incredible accomplishment, but from somebody who's lived in this sport, lives this sport and loves this country, big picture to think about what Canada has done and how this opportunity is something I don't think you and I would have ever even dreamed of 10 years ago.
Yeah, you know, I had that thought. It was our 2nd round against Olympia in the first year. We had a couple of injuries and we're playing the first leg here in Hamilton, and we started 10 out of 11 Canadians, and 7 of those players were playing in League One Ontario the year before. And we've come out and we've beat a powerhouse in Central America, Olympia 1-0. That's when you start really realizing how big it is. And now over time we've been able to create a little bit of history, and we want to continue doing that. I've been in this game for 20 years in this country, watching players develop and believing in Canadian players. And I think what we've been able to show ourselves and other Canadian teams or other Canadian Premier League teams playing in this competition is, it's not a matter of we belong. It's we're good. We've got good players across this country. We need more professional football. We need to keep on growing the game, and you can grow that by making sure you're doing the right things in your continental stage, because you know the amount of contacts, clubs, players that we have in the Central America region have grown immensely over the years, and a lot of it comes down to everyone talking about our performances in Central America and Concacaf region.
You mentioned it, your team was fantastic last year, even though Guadalajara obviously were too good for you in the end. How are you better after coaching in those games?
Yeah, you look at the small little details. And you have to find the right balance of not how we want to play and how we don't want to play, but where we're measured in our approach in those games, and where those differences come from. You know, last year it was small transitional moments in zones where I generally don't like the ball to be going into, and if you do that once or twice in a game, teams will punish you, and that's been a big thing we've talked about in training, including today on the pitch, is making sure this game is played in the right zones that give us an advantage in the attack, but also give us the advantage in how we need to defend, and you know, not giving these teams the opportunity, and that's the lesson you take from these matches in the past.
Last one for you. It's February, it's cold, no one's expecting professional soccer in Canada to be played in February. Here we go, we get a Mexican giant, been around for decades, know how to win. Do you allow yourself to think, what if we could beat these guys?
Yeah, you don't allow yourself to think, and I don't want to say you dream, but that's what we're working for, 100%. Again, it's not about year one and being happy to be at the Azteca and second time around performance. Here it's about we need to go out and get a performance. And we need to go out and get a result. And it's important for us to believe in it as coaches, because it doesn't matter what type of football you play, how you want to train. If you believe in it, your players will believe in it. And that's the one thing I've always been big on over all these years. It's not so much about what the opponent does, but what we can do to the opponent. And the same will be in this scenario. Doesn't matter how big they are. And as the legend Johan Cruyff has said many times, and I've used it before, I've never seen a bag of money score goals. You know, it's players on the pitch, and we've got that opportunity to be able to do it here, starting at home next Wednesday.
What an opportunity. Go and enjoy it. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate you.
Thank you.